Insecure attachment is not born, it is made. And when we look at the research, there's 3 primary categories that increase the risk of someone developing an insecure attachment style as an adult. This is either anxious or avoidant. Firstly, early caregiving and parent-child relationships. So the quality of a child's early attachment in the relationship with their parents strongly influences the likelihood of someone developing an insecure attachment style later on in life. So children who experience inconsistent, neglectful, or psychologically abusive dynamics in their early childhood are at a significantly higher risk of developing either an anxious or an avoidant attachment style. And then what's interesting is disengaged or disrupted parenting, so this can be lack of emotional availability, rejection, or even just authoritative styles of parenting, are found to be significant risk factors and predictors of developing insecure attachment styles. And sometimes this can be even more of a risk than direct abuse itself. And then the attachment style of parents and caregivers, that in itself also is a risk factor, because if a parent is either anxious or avoidant, that influences how well they can emotionally attune and respond to their child. And this is how and why we see the cycle of insecurity perpetuating from generation to generation, and why it can be so hard for people to break that cycle. Secondly, childhood trauma. This poses such a big risk because it disrupts the ability of a child to develop secure attachment with their parents and caregivers. And it's one of the biggest risk factors for developing our disorganized, or what we call fearful avoidant attachment styles in adulthood. And childhood trauma can fall into any of the 4 categories, which can be neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse, or emotional abuse. And lastly, individual child and environmental factors. So the individual child factors can just be things like the temperament of child, neurodevelopmental elements, which can be things like ADHD. These aren't hugely influential. They're just considered to be one small piece in the rather large puzzle. What plays a bigger factor are the individual social dynamics of the family. So family environment and social context. So these are things like the mental health of the parent or caregiver, general family stress, social support, socioeconomic factors. So why it actually becomes really important to understand all of the factors that may contribute to someone's risk of developing an insecure attachment style, it's recognizing that there are so many different elements that will play into someone's individual presentation. So because of that, insecure attachment, A, can present differently from person to person, and B, what someone may need to focus on to address their internal state and begin to overcome their insecure attachment, it will vary from person to person, because one-size-fits-all approaches don't work. The better we're able to understand the multi-layered elements that might be at play, this is how we're able to work one-on-one with individuals to help them introspect, self-regulate, and show up as more stable, emotionally healthy partners. What we may need to focus on will be different from the next person. How we're showing up today, how we're triggered today, what our dysregulation looks like, that will vary from person to person. And then when we are doing the deeper inner work and addressing some of the potential childhood traumas that exist, that's going to be different from person to person as well.